Right now, if you've been in an accident recently, your body is doing something remarkable. It's healing itself. Without you even thinking about it, your body has already started the repair process, laying down new tissue, rebuilding what was damaged. That's the good news. The bad news, your body might be healing wrong. And if it does, it can set you up for problems that last months, sometimes years. Let me show you what I mean. To understand how healing can go wrong, you first need to understand what healthy tissue looks like. Your muscles, your ligaments, your tendons, they're all made of fibers. And in healthy tissue, these fibers are highly organized. They run parallel to each other, all aligned in the same direction. Think of it like a handful of straws all pointing the same way. Neat, orderly, functional. This organization matters. It's what allows for muscles to contract and relax smoothly. It's what gives ligaments their strength and flexibility. And it's what lets tissues glide past each other, what we call glide and slide, so you can move freely without restriction. The same is true in your spine. The annular fibers of your intervertebral discs, the rings of tissue that hold the disc together, are arranged in organized layers. This structure is what allows your disc to absorb shock and handle load. Organization equals function. Remember that. Now, here's what happens when you're injured. When tissue is damaged, torn muscle fibers, stretched ligaments, disrupted disc fibers, your body immediately begins repairing it. This starts within 12 to 24 hours of the injury. But here's the problem. The repair tissue your body creates isn't the same as the original. Your body lays down what we call scar tissue. And scar tissue doesn't form that nice, organized, parallel pattern. It forms in a haphazard, disorganized way. If healthy tissue is like straws all pointing in the same direction, scar tissue is like throwing a handful of matches on the floor. It's random, chaotic, and tangled. This disorganized tissue is also denser than normal tissue. It's less flexible, and it doesn't function the same way. Along with this new scar tissue, your body also creates extra blood vessels in the area. And this is important, it grows new pain-sensing nerve endings called nociceptors. That makes the damaged area more sensitive than it was before. So now you have tissue that's less flexible, less functional, and more sensitive to pain. That's the scar tissue problem. But wait, it gets worse. Starting around day 3 after your injury and continuing for about a month, this scar tissue begins to do something. It contracts, it shrinks, like shrink wrap. As it contracts, it pulls on the tissues around it. Muscles that were once flexible become shortened and tight. Fascia or other connective tissue that had normal length becomes restricted and tight. Remember that glide and slide I mentioned? The ability of tissues to move smoothly past each other? That gets lost. The tissues become adhered, stuck together, and movement becomes restricted. That is why after an accident, you might notice your range of motion getting worse instead of better. You feel stiffer as the days go by. Turning your head becomes harder. Bending over becomes more difficult. That's not your imagination. That's scar tissue contracting and pulling everything together, tighter. Now here's where this becomes a bigger problem, especially for your spine. When muscles and connective tissues shorten and tighten, they don't just restrict your movement. They start pulling on the structures they're attached to. In your spine, this means they're pulling on your vertebrae. We call this internal loading. It's compression that comes from inside of your own body, from your own tight tissues, rather than from external forces like gravity or lifting something heavy. Think about what this means. You have tight contracted tissues acting like rubber bands, constantly pulling your vertebrae together. This puts pressure on your facet joints, the small joints on either side of your spine that guide movement. It compresses your intervertebral discs. It creates tension on your spinal structures 24 hours a day, even when you're lying down. And here's the key insight. This internal loading can keep your spine compressed and sensitive long after the original injury should have healed. It's not the accident that's hurting you anymore. It's what happened afterward. The scar tissue, the contraction, the internal loading that's been building ever since. So allow me to bring this together. Your body is incredibly good at healing itself, but without guidance, it often heals in a way that creates new problems. Scar tissue forms, disorganized, dense, and sensitive. That tissue contracts, shortening muscles and restricting movement. The shortened tissues create internal loading, compressing your spine from the inside. And that compression can keep structures like your facet joints and discs irritated and painful long after the initial injury. This is the cascade, and once you understand it, you start to see why some people can struggle for months or even years after these accidents. Understanding this is the first step, but the real question is, what do you do about it? How do you break the cycle once it's started? That's what we'll cover in the next video. Why your pain won't go away and what it actually needs for real recovery. In the meantime, if you've been in an accident and you want to understand what's happening in your body, or if you want to get evaluated to see where you stand, visit our website to learn how to be seen, www.peakinjuryclinics.com. Take care.